Thank you, Jeff. All right, Jeff. So, hey, are you ready to go? And, we've been talking and we've spent a couple of days looking at homes. Are you ready to go out and find that special home?
I am interested in buying. I love the fact that rates are low right now, but I am a little concerned about going in and out of other people's houses during COVID.
Okay. I understand that, Jeff. Other than that, is there any other reason why you want to take advantage of a great market?
Um, well, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of competition right now. I was thinking maybe of waiting to see if that dies down a little bit when more houses come on the market.
Okay. So are you saying, right now, so let me ask you this question. I'm going to go because again, I'm giving you different questions you could ask. I'll ask them the meat thermometer. So I know we've only spent a little time out there looking around. So let me just ask you this question, Jeff, no right or wrong, based on your opinion of what's going on in the market from a buyer's perspective, because you are a buyer. Do you think the market's working in your favor or working against you?
I think right now it's kind of working against me. I mean, I don't have a lot of money to put down, and I feel like it's going to be a little tougher to, just talking to some friends, it might be a little tougher to get, to get in there and compete and get the house we really want.
I get it. Now, what's interesting, stepping out of role, as many times as I've role played this, and you ask a buyer that, you might be shocked at what you hear. They might say, hey, look, I think it's in my favor, or I think it's both. I mean, interest rates are low. I want to take advantage of interest rates. Now you have a little bit of urgency on your side. Either way, it's the buyer or seller, when you ask the question, will give you the ammunition to, quote, load your gun. The other thing that I don't know if you picked up on that I said when I first talked to Jeff. So anything else keeping you from taking advantage of this market? Now, we're used to asking that questions to sellers, right? Because the cash register is like going up, prices are going up, and the sellers seem to be winning. You might have had that negative thought like, well, if the seller's winning like that, how could a buyer win? That's a mindset issue, you guys. Let me just put it this way, because I'm not really having a conversation with you. It is a win for a buyer to step into an upward moving escalator. You understand, if they buy today and the market continues, and it is continuing, to what point we don't know, it's been upward moving for 10 years. Do you think there's some buyers out there that maybe have been renting for the last 2 or 3 years that didn't want to step into the market because they were afraid, it was going to change, it was going to crash, they wanted to wait for it to go down? I just showed you an article over the last quarter, the prices were up 12%. Now, how many people basically, how many buyers, if they knew what they know now, would have bought 3 months ago or 6 months ago versus now? And so, yes, I mean, wouldn't a buyer want to take advantage of an upward moving market? It may go up for another year or 10 years. So that's why I want you to make sure you frame this. It's not a win for sellers and a lose for buyers. An upward moving market, everybody wins. So, all right, so I just wanted to give you that input there. So now I go back to you, Jeff. Sorry to put you on the sideline there for that. So because I think I normally write this down right now because I'm standing, I don't have it here. So going back, Jeff, you mentioned about the COVID thing, and then your second concern is that you want to make sure you get the house you want. Is that what you said? And you're concerned about, what's going on in the market with prices?
Yeah, part of me felt like we should save more money and have more money down before we're ready to, pull the trigger so we can more easily qualify for a house that we really like.
Okay. And when was the last time you were talked to a lender and got an idea of what the rates were and what your payments were?
Well, I was on Quicken Loans last week, and I kind of checked, and it looked like the rate would probably be pretty good. If I had more money down, it would be even better.
So we were talking about waiting. So I don't know that I've isolated everything. So other than that and the COVID issue, you talk about affordability, and it might be better to wait. You have more of a down payment, right? Is there anything else that's keeping you from moving forward?
I don't think so. We're really tired of being cramped in this place and would love to get into a new home.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear that? Did you hear his pain point? He's cramped. They're uncomfortable. That's music. You should hear violins playing because now make sure you understand and hear those words and repeat those words back to him because that's his pain point. Now, the other thing is I've just demonstrated, keep going till they cry uncle. So Jeff, you mentioned a couple of different things. Three, I guess. Number one is you were talking about the COVID issue that maybe we can talk about that. You talked about your affordability, and in fact, I just forgot. What was the third one? Well, I don't. Maybe there wasn't a third one. Maybe I think you said that you were cramped. I don't think you had a third one. Did I miss something, Jeff?
No, it was affordability, just making sure that we could get the house that we really like with the amount of money we have saved, to make sure, and that we could compete.
Got it. Now there's two issues there. He made three different statements, but there's really only two issues. So and I'm modeling what you do next. So of those two issues, affordability, making sure you get the house you want. I understand you're kind of cramped where you are, and you've got the COVID issue. Which one? Is there one that's more important than the other?
Well, I think getting the house we want and being able to qualify, for what we really like is probably, of the two, is more important. I assume, we can go see houses without a bunch of other people in there.
That's why I asked that question, because many, many times, you guys, the COVID issue would take care of itself. And if you want to drill down deep, there's questions you can ask of people, there's questions you can ask to get to their comfort level. I would say 99% of the people that have a concern about COVID, buyers or sellers, you can walk them through logical conversations in which they would feel safe in doing so, unless they're super high risk category or whatever. That would be a 1%er, right? So, all right. So let me ask you this. If what would you think? Have you been shopping online? I know we spent a little bit of time. Have you been shopping online and looking at houses that come available and so forth and so on?
Yeah. Every few days I get that list you send me, and I kind of scour through it and pick out a few that I really like. And, I tend to go back and, see those, look at those a couple times and see if it's something that might work for us.
And are you finding houses that might work for you?
I think so. I without seeing them in person, it's a little hard to tell, but from the, videos and photos I've seen, there's definitely some houses that pique our interest that would seem like they would meet our needs nicely.
Awesome. So again, one of the things I like to do working with a buyer or maybe a seller who wants to be a buyer is make sure they feel comfortable. If they've been out shopping around online or whatever, do you feel like that buyer will have a little bit more confidence in walking forward in a market in which they're watching houses that, that'd be pretty nice. That would work for us. That seems to be affordable. I like that area, blah, blah, blah. Versus, I haven't seen a single house that meets my criteria. Now you're getting a comfort level for where they are comfortable, right? So let me ask you a question then, I guess. So far this year, I want to ask you two questions. What have interest rates done so far this year? Have they gone up or down?
From what I've seen, I'm assuming they've gone down. It looks like from the news and even what you said earlier, it looks like they've trended down a little bit more than they were at the beginning of the year.
Yes, you're exactly right. They were a little bit over 3% when we talked, and we were shocked at that. That was record, right? And now they're like 2 3/4. So what's happened is your purchasing power has grown a little bit because now you can afford more home, right? Now, do you feel like, let me ask the second question, do you feel like home prices have gone up or down, let's say, maybe since the first of the year?
According to my neighbors, they've definitely gone up. Just from what I've seen on a couple of the houses that have sold on the street and talking to a couple of my neighbors.
Now, remember the article that I showed you guys, the 12%? Now, you could make a statement on that if you wanted to. However, it's stronger to make a question. There's a lot of different questions you could ask. Would it surprise you to learn that the National Association of Realtors just released a report on the last quarter, quarter three, that home prices are up 12%.
With COVID-19 and the economy, that does seem kind of surprising.
And it's the strongest quarter over quarter jump in 7 years. And again, there's no sign of it letting up. So do you think that's worked in your favor or hurt your buying power?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I guess if the prices are going up, it's hurting me, but if the rates are going down, it's kind of a wash. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So far, the rates have helped soften that blow for buyers. However, do you really think interest rates can go much lower? You think there'd be a stronger possibility prices may go up? However, rates are kind of about as low as they're going to get.
I mean, I've heard the term historically low rates, and they seem to be even lower than our historically low rates. So I would imagine at some point that's going to reverse. I mean, I can't imagine we're going to keep rates. I mean, we've got, changes happening and things, the economies could change. So I don't think that's going to last forever.
Well, then if the rates are kind of maybe about as far as they're going to go and there's no sign of prices, I mean, prices are up, actually accelerating. Wouldn't it make sense to buy now versus buy in another 3 months when prices could have gone up another 10 or 12%?
Yeah. I mean, do you think the market's going to keep going up this year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've learned in my years of real estate, I've never been able to predict the future very well. I just look at trends. And for the last 10 years, well, let me ask the question, do you know how long prices have been moving up?
I mean, I don't know, maybe since when we had the kind of the crash back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, you're right. At least no, not quite then. I mean, the bubble burst in many areas, and we had a reset or a recession in some areas. However, the market has been marching upward on prices for the last 10 years. What's interesting is I had clients that 5 years ago were thinking about buying, and they thought the market was going to change, so they waited. They're still renting.
Yeah, it would have been nice to buy 5 years ago.
So, well, let me ask you: if knowing what you know now, would you have liked to step into the market 3 months ago and save 12%?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and I know how you can do that.
How?
Well, you step into the market now.
Do you think you can get us a house that we want? I mean, if we jump on this now?
Well, that's why I ask you, have you been shopping and ask if you found houses? That's exactly why I asked him that. Now, you've been looking online, right?
Yep.
And have you seen the houses you like? And then you go back there maybe a couple of days later, they're already gone?
That's kind of why I was concerned, because it seems like they go so quickly. I mean,
Would you feel more comfortable waiting until the market shifts and starts to go down? And instead of you seeing houses sell, you see more and more houses come on the market and prices fall. Would that make you feel more comfortable?
Well, if that was going to happen anytime soon, but I really, really do want to get a bigger place. I mean, we're on top of each other, for the last 8 months. So I want to wait forever to see if that happens.
I am prolonging putting the fork in him because I'm just giving you different avenues and different questions to ask. Many times these role players in reality don't have to be that long because you can demonstrate where it's kind of like, when should you plant a apple tree or oranges here in Florida, 10 years ago or now? I mean, so let me just ask you, Jeff, would you like to hop on the escalator and get that bigger home so you're not crammed anymore, and then possibly ride the market up as long as it's moving?
I think if we can make this work, I think I'm ready.
Another way that you could use a question on this is, because he mentioned a couple times they're on top of each other, they're crammed, blah, blah, blah. Well, what concerns me about you waiting is that every day you wait, your house gets smaller. Does that concern you?
Yeah, it does. Because if it gets a lot smaller, I think I'm going to have to move out on my own.
Really quick, let's just do really quick because you might get this. Let's just do strictly. I want to wait until after the holidays. All right. So that because right now we had to deal with COVID in the market. Let's just say, Jeff, you want to wait until after the holidays. This would be very fast. Let me just ask you. Let me see if I can limit it to 5 questions. Okay. You want to wait until after the holidays. Other than that, is there any other reason that you won't move forward now?
I mean, I'm
no.
a little.
No, just say no.
No.
Okay. Because I want to get 5 questions. That's one. So I've isolated. Number 2, define holidays.
I mean, after the first, I wanted to kind of enjoy myself during the holiday period with my family and not have another thing on our plate.
Number 3. So because I've limited myself to 5 questions, I'm thinking about this carefully, right? So would you want to be, if you had you have a choice as a buyer to be in a market that's strongly in your favor or it's neutral, which would you choose?
Strongly in my favor sounds great.
That's 3. And when do you think that is? No. Would it surprise you that because of the way you feel, there are other buyers out there that are taking the holidays off, and yet there's still sellers that are serious and motivated? Do you realize you'll have less competition if you're in the market now?
Does that mean we maybe could get a better deal now or get a better house?
Well, I've got one more question. If you could, would you want to take advantage of it?
Yeah, if that's going to help us get what we want and make it easier.
And here's my statement. Well, Jeff, I know this for sure. You can't win in this market between now and New Year's unless you're in this market. So what would it cost you if you're in what I meant another question, sorry. If you didn't find the house you really wanted between now and New Year's, would it have cost you anything?
No.
What if that one special home was out there and we had a very motivated seller and you were able to get a super buy on it? It was just hand in glove fit. Wouldn't that not be a win for you?
That would be a win. Do you think there's something like that out there?
Well, I know if there is, would you want to look at it?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Why not?
There we go. All right, put something in the chat box if you have any questions. You want to role play that a little bit. There's one more thing that I've got planned. Jeff, thank you so much for that. You're awesome.
Thank you.